The economy, education, jobs, gun safety, and mental health are at the forefront of the complex set of issues facing the Connecticut General Assembly. I'm Nathan O'Leary for Comcast Newsmakers at Comcast's Connecticut studio. Newly elected House Speaker Brendan Sharkey of Hamden joins Newsmakers to discuss legislative priorities. Welcome, Mr. Speaker, and congratulations.
Good to see you again, Nathan. Thank you.
In a recent article in the Hartford Courant, you stated that you never expected to be Speaker of the House. Now, is this because of the typical twists in terms of politics that you find yourself here?
I'm a believer in the fact that you can't and shouldn't plan for your future, because when you start planning for things, you tend to do things for the wrong reasons. So I've always been a believer that you do the best job you can and let things fall where they will. So a few years ago it wasn't on my horizon, but it developed very quickly.
As a long-term supporter of regional cooperation, what benefits can be realized by municipalities and also the state by adopting that approach?
Well, as I predicted, this year we are going to have to balance a difficult state budget, and we've been holding towns and cities harmless for quite some time, in spite of some big budget deficits in past years, and I don't think we can continue to do that, and the governor's budget, I think, reflects that. There are tremendous opportunities that towns can, and efficiencies that towns can realize by working on a more cooperative basis, both on the town side as well as the Board of Education side. I think there's a lot of low-hanging fruit there that can help them get through this next budget cycle, next year or two, as the state recoups on its own.
Yeah, and we have to, I think it's very clear to people, since there is currently a projected deficit, it has to be at the top of the issue, top of the agenda for you addressing the budget. What other challenges do lawmakers face? You got the regional cooperation, but when you go into the State House, what is it that legislators are concerned about?
Well, we're concerned about not raising taxes, frankly. In order to get us to where we are now, facing the largest deficit per capita of any state in the country just 2 years ago, we did a balanced approach that included tax increases. We are really, I know I personally am really unwilling to do that again unless that is absolutely necessary. So the challenge is to try to find those cuts that we can without having to raise taxes. And I think the biggest challenge with that, I don't think folks necessarily realize that the biggest we're not only not getting enough revenues as much as we expected, but also on the expenditure side, we've had the economy has really hurt folks in a way that really taxes our Medicaid program in particular, and that has been the single biggest driver of the deficit on the expense side, and we've got to try to figure out some ways to deal with that.
In the wake of the Newtown tragedy, there was a task force created. It was formed to address gun safety, school security, and mental health. What do you expect the outcome of that work to be?
Well, we are working on a bipartisan basis to build a set of legislation that is consensus. And in my definition of consensus is that it'll be obviously enough votes to pass in both houses, but also will have representation from the Republicans as well as the Democrats in each house. That consensus is sometimes hard to reach on certain issues, but our expectation is that we're going to have legislation, a package of legislation, probably sometime in March, that will address some of the things that we can build on short term, and then leave some of the tougher issues that may not be consensus, right, but will get a majority of votes, and take those up later on in the session, sometime probably in May or early June.
All right, thank you very much. Always good to see you, Brendan Sharkey, newly elected Speaker of the Connecticut House. Congratulations, and thank you for joining us for Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Nathan O'Leary. Until next time.